All right, let's jump right into this explainer covering the latest Claude Code update, version 2.1.174. Today, we're zeroing in on an update that's honestly all about making that daily developer grind just so much smoother. You know, when you're using AI coding tools day in and day out, it's usually those tiny little frictions that snowball into major frustrations, right? Well, Anthropic has clearly been paying attention to those exact pain points. Think about your current setup for just a second. I mean, do you ever wonder exactly which AI workflow is just burning through your credits? Or maybe why your environment variables suddenly seem totally tangled up? Well, before we actually break down the data on how this patch targets the friction you experience every single day, we kind of need to understand exactly how the tool itself is operating under the hood. So, Section 1, Meet Claude Code, the baseline. For those of you who might be newer to the ecosystem, or maybe you're just using a different setup, Claude Code is Anthropic's command line and editor-integrated coding assistant. Whether you're living directly in the CLI or natively inside VSCode, this tool essentially connects your specific development environment right to the Claude models. And it can route through Bedrock or even custom API gateways, depending on your enterprise setup. But crucially, it's designed to handle those longer-running tasks by spinning up background sessions and subagents. And these are basically mini assistants totally dedicated to specific parts of your task. Now, this background processing is incredibly powerful, absolutely, but as we're going to see, it also introduces some unique challenges that this specific update tackles head-on. Moving on to Section 2, Tooling Upgrade, not a model update. Conceptually, you got to realize this release is entirely focused on the tooling wrapper, not the underlying brain. So rather than rolling out some flashy new AI model, Anthropic recognized something super important. It's the tooling around the model that truly dictates your daily user experience. I mean, let's be real. A brilliant AI model is practically useless if the interface you use to access it is clunky, opaque, or just plain buggy. So let's look at exactly what they polished up. All right, Section 3, Quality of Life Upgrades, because small changes really do matter. Now, if you spend hours using Claude Code in full screen mode, you've probably noticed the mouse wheel scroll acceleration. For a lot of developers, this built-in acceleration can feel, well, kind of floaty and honestly deeply disorienting when you're trying to precisely scan through hundreds of lines of generated code. Well, good news, you can finally disable it. They've introduced a brand new setting explicitly named Wheel Scroll Acceleration Enabled. It's a small quality of life change, for sure. But hey, when you're living inside this tool for 8 hours a day, it's the exact kind of granular control you really want. Section 4, Track Your Credit Burn, featuring the new usage dialog. Okay, this right here is where the update gets incredibly practical for your wallet. By simply bringing up the usage dialog, which, by the way, you do by just typing /usage right in the VS Code integration, you unlock a highly detailed breakdown of where every single one of your credits is going. Seriously, no more flying blind or waiting for that painful end-of-month invoice to realize some runaway script just ate your entire quota. Just look at the granularity in the metrics you can now track here. You can monitor cache misses and long context consumption, and you can actually see exactly which subagents are driving those numbers. You can filter all of this per skill, per agent, per plugin, and even per MCP server. Plus, you can easily toggle between a tight 24-hour window or a broader 7-day view. So what does this all mean? It means if you've got an MCP server that's quietly being super inefficient, or maybe a specific skill that's just bypassing the cache entirely, you finally have the hard data to know exactly why your credits are draining. And, you can actually optimize accordingly. Which brings us to Section 5, Squashing Workflow Bugs. Major friction resolved. So the absolutely crucial point here is transparency. Previously, that /model picker had a default option that was essentially a mystery box. It hid which model it was actually resolving to, which, let's be honest, is pretty dangerous when different models have vastly different costs and capabilities. But now, the picker is completely explicit. Opus now gets its very own row if you are a Max, Team, Premium Enterprise, or a pay-as-you-go API user. Meanwhile, Sonnet correctly and explicitly shows up for Pro and Team users. No more guessing, you know exactly what engine you're starting up. Building right on that transparency, there was this specific bug with custom environment variables. If you used Anthropic default Sonnet model to pin a very specific version of Sonnet, the interface would essentially lie to you and just display a hard-coded generic Sonnet label anyway. While that super annoying disconnect between your configured environment and the UI, totally fixed. And there's also this great wave of rapid-fire under-the-hood cleanups. For GovCloud isers, those incredibly annoying 400 routing errors, they are gone. On the security front, background sessions are no longer going to leak your custom environment variables from whatever shell started the daemon. And for all you macOS and Linux users out there, that agonizing 1 to 2 second pause when you're just trying to quit the tool has finally been eliminated. Plus, they got rid of a false billing banner that was scaring enterprise accounts, and they fixed the advisor dialog so it actually stops pre-selecting models that are explicitly blocked by your allow list. But wait, the cleanup continues right down to the little details. Hot reloading a single skill won't trigger that annoying re-announcement of every single skill you already have loaded anymore. Idle background workers won't fail authentication out of nowhere, and they even cleaned up the git commit co-author lines so the correct model names finally show up there. Oh, and they also added missing per agent attribution headers for workflow subagents, which, if you think about it, ties perfectly back into that amazing new usage tracking we were just talking about. Now, if you want to dive deeper into everything Claude Code can do, or you just want to verify these changes for yourself, you've got some really great resources available. To explore the full manual and read some nice plain English guides, definitely check out claudemaster.net. And of course, if you want to dig right into the raw repository code and the official changelog, just head on over to Anthropic's Claude Code GitHub. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought. Next time you jump back into your IDE, ask yourself this. Are your coding tools actually saving you time, or are they just hiding their inefficiencies behind a really slick interface? The new usage tracking and transparency features in Claude Code 2.1174 prove that proper tooling visibility absolutely transforms the way you work, finally moving you from just guessing to actually knowing. Make sure you're running the latest version and take back control of your workflow.